Hello there YouTube, this is Father9000 and welcome to another episode of Games That Time Forgot, a series where we look at cancelled games, concepts, betas, and prototypes. Since Rayman Legends has been announced quite recently, I thought it makes sense to look back at the long-lost Rayman 4. But wait! Cry 5 people. You covered this in a video from 2 months ago. True, but I actually got a lot of information wrong, so I've decided to redo the video in order to do Rayman 4 justice. And how do we start this off? By telling you that there were actually 2 Rayman 4s. You heard me right. There was not only the Raving Rabbids prototype that everyone knows about, but also another game. I also mentioned it in my original video, although I didn't know it had anything to do with a separate game, when I showed the concept art from the portfolio of Guillaume Bonamy, and I really hope I pronounced that right. This Rayman 4 was going to be developed by Phoenix Interactive Entertainment instead of Ubisoft Montpellier. The plot of the game is unknown, but it's clear from the concept art that the game would have had Rayman go through 3D incarnations of levels from the original Rayman, and apparently they were going to be highly accurate. The game was meant to be a 3D platform, and the game had a new gimmick in the form of transformations that would have given Rayman not only new abilities, but a different physical appearance. Several of these new transformations were Ghost Rayman, Boxing Rayman, Porcupine Rayman, Mime Rayman, Super Helicopter Rayman, and so on and so forth. Something interesting about the game is that one of the concept art pieces shows a church based around Dark Rayman, leading to the suspicion that Dark Rayman could have been a boss or even the main villain of the game. However, it's unsure why the game was cancelled, but if I had to take a guess, it's because when the game was in production in late 2005, Ubisoft Montpellier was busy developing the game based on Peter Jackson's King Kong, and when they were done with that, they took back the reins from Phoenix Interactive and scrapped whatever they didn't like, which clearly was all of it. That, or Ubisoft wasn't comfortable with a different developer taking on one of the most loved franchises at the time, and stopped things before they got out of hand. Either way, Rayman 4 never saw the light of day, and most people didn't know about it until quite recently, actually. People always confuse this with the Raving Rabbids prototype since the Game Boy Advance version had used concepts from both games, although it's unknown if both games actually had anything to do with each other. And now we can finally discuss the Rayman 4 that everybody knows about, the prototype for Rayman Raving Rabbids. In early 2006, Ubisoft announced a new Rayman game headed for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo Wii. The game being known at the time as Rayman 4, which would have been a 3D platformer like Rayman 2 and 3, and would also have been worked on by the original creator of Rayman, Michael Ansel, for the first time since Rayman 2. Like the final product, Rayman's world would have been invaded by rabbits, who apparently had been planning their invasion since before the first game. We're going to take revenge on everyone for mocking them. In the game, Rayman would have been able to ride giant animals like tarantulas, sharks, and eagles, similar to the animal buddies from Donkey Kong Country. And oddly enough, like Origins, Rayman could have fought the rabbits through melee attacks instead of throwing orbs or fists at them like he did with other enemies in 2 and 3. A particular element of the game is that Rayman would have been able to hypnotize and control the rabbits through dancing. Rayman's various costumes from the final game would have actually been based on different musical styles instead of aesthetics. For example, Disco Rayman would be disco, and Gangster Rayman would be rap, I guess. Although this would have been a mini-game more than anything else. There also would have been various designs for the rabbits instead of just the one that everyone knows about, and there was even going to be a Jabba the Hutt-like Emperor Rabbit, who was Rayman's newly introduced girlfriend with him. According to an interview with Ansel, and I quote, "Rayman will have to save the world, his girlfriend, and the girlfriend of his old enemy, and his old enemy too." That old enemy would actually be confirmed to have been Andre from Rayman 3, and the girlfriend would have been a female hoodlum, presumably Toots, the female announcer voice from the Hoodlum base. However, as we all know, the game radically changed course when Montpellier received development kits for the Wii version and began to experiment with a wide variety of gameplay styles. Because the developers seemed to enjoy making this more than actually making the platformer game, the game was changed into the minigame collection we know and love today. Another reason for this was that apparently in an interview with Ansel, and I quote, "Actually it all went this way because of the coming of the Wii. I realized it would be useless to make an adventure game I would have made on PlayStation 2, so we just moved on with a more appropriate party game which best fitted the console. If he means that 3D platformers wouldn't work on the Nintendo Wii, Super Mario Galaxy says hello. It's a shame that either one of the games didn't get made since it had a lot of potential, and since then, Ubisoft has received many petitions to get the original Raving Rabbids prototype made, and it seems that Ubisoft aren't going to do so. Or is it? Well, not quite. You see, during Origin's development, Ansel confirmed that a new 3D Rayman game was being planned, and in December last year said that it might be based on the original Raving Rabbids prototype. Now, I don't know if anything's going to come out of it, but I'm really hoping that it will happen since a lot of people, including me, want to know how the original version would have turned out. Although that may take decades because of Legends and Beyond Good and Evil 2, which by the way has a new trailer after a billion years. In any case, I'll see you for my next video.